Why do they always ruin the holidays? Birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas morning, graduation dinners, even funerals. Somehow, what is supposed to be a meaningful moment always spirals into tension and chaos and even tears. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism Podcast, where we talk about the hidden dynamics, the emotional chaos, and the silent devastation of relationships with covert narcissists. And most importantly, we work towards reclaiming your peace, your truth, and your future. Today's episode is a big one. It's the kind of conversation that many survivors whisper about in support groups or therapy offices. It's when the people who are supposed to love us cannot let us have anything that's not about them. So let's talk about this pattern. It's a trail of ruined moments. If you've ever lived with or loved a covert narcissist, you probably have noticed this pattern. Special occasions don't bring you closer, they actually become emotional landmines. So let's talk about this. Example one is the silent treatment Christmas. You spend days getting everything ready, the food, the gifts, the decorations, the people. It's a lot of fun. But on Christmas morning, they're cold, distant, sulking. And you ask, hey, what's wrong? Nothing. But their energy says otherwise. They're punishing you. But for what? Maybe they didn't get the reaction that they wanted when you opened their gift. Maybe you spent too much time with your family the night before. Maybe they just couldn't stand not being the center of attention. You see, all this attention that's put on Christmas drives them crazy. We're going to talk about why here in just a minute. Example two is your birthday, their meltdown. You planned a simple dinner with mutual friends. You even checked in with them beforehand to make sure that they're okay with the plans. But halfway through the night, they get snippy, dismissive, cold. And later you hear things like, I can't believe you embarrassed me like that. And you don't have a clue what they're talking about. But your birthday becomes about their hurt feelings. You go home and you sit and cry alone on your birthday, feeling selfish for even wanting a day that was about you in the first place. Example three is the vacation that's not a vacation. You book a beach trip for the family and you imagine joy, relaxation, laughter, fun. But on day two, there's an incident, a disagreement, a pouty shutdown, or a sudden health scare. And you spend the rest of the vacation focused on them, walking on eggshells, managing their moods while trying to keep the kids happy. And you return home more exhausted than when you left. So why do they do this? Why do covert narcissists sabotage our special occasions? One reason is the loss of control. You see, special occasions often involve shared attention. The spotlight isn't on them. So you're planning a family vacation, then you're doing things that are for the kids. You're doing things that are for, if you've got cousins going or your siblings are going, or if you're traveling somewhere and you're even just taking care of the preparations and talking to the people there, setting up the outings and the meals and all of that. Your attention is divided. And their fragile sense of significance is threatened by this. Remember, covert narcissists are addicted to attention, your attention. They want all of you for themselves all the time. So even this special occasion that might include them, it still threatens them because your attention is elsewhere. They regain it by sulking, creating drama, withdrawing affection, all of this to force you to orbit around them again. Another reason is that they're envious of your joy. So your joy is a reminder of what they cannot feel. They don't feel joy. They don't feel peacefulness. They don't even feel calmness. So when you're happy, relaxed, or heaven forbid, being celebrated because it's your birthday, they feel excluded. They feel left out because they're not participating in the happiness and the joy and the peacefulness with you. So that envy of what you have that they don't, that turns to resentment. In their logic, even though it's often, unconscious logic, their logic is if I can't enjoy this, then you shouldn't either. With a covert narcissistic person, life is a competition, and they always have to win, or at the very least, they can't let you win. Another reason is to undermine your autonomy. See, if you planned something without them, or bought a gift for someone else without consulting them, or expressed love freely to somebody, for their anniversary or a Christmas wishes, and you planned a special thing for somebody for Christmas, it triggers their insecurity. See, they interpret your generosity for someone else as a lack of generosity for them. This is a competition. It all goes back to the competition. So if you are being generous and caring and giving towards another person, whether that be a neighbor, a friend, or even your own parent, like your own mother, but you are being generous for someone else, they interpret that as a lack of generosity for them. You are stealing the generosity that they deserve away from them and giving it to someone else. They interpret your independence as a rejection of them. They interpret your joy as a threat to them. So ruining the moment, which they do quite well, brings the focus back to them. And it makes you question your right to enjoy anything on your own. You see, covert narcissists would rather that you be unhappy with them than for you to be happy with anyone else. How messed up is that? This is your partner, your spouse, your husband, your wife, even your mother or your father, if you grew up under a narcissistic parent. They would rather that you be unhappy with them than for you to actually be happy with anyone else or anything else in your life. So the last reason we're going to explore is they control the emotional tone. Like they like to set the emotional tone. They believe that they get to decide how things feel. I've said it before, I lived in a world where the meanest person in the room got to set the mood for everyone else. Okay, the meanest person in the house is the one that sets the rules. We were required to match his mood. If he was happy, then we had to be happy. If he was mad, then we had to be mad. And if our feelings didn't match his, then we became a target too. So it just wasn't safe. The safest out was to just match his feelings. Well, this is a quiet but yet very powerful form of control. Now, what does this do to you when you're living in this environment? Over time, this dynamic teaches you something very dangerous and very painful. It teaches you don't get excited, don't plan anything, don't expect things to go well, don't get hopeful, don't look forward to the future. So you begin bracing for disappointment. You begin expecting things to go wrong on your birthday, on an anniversary, on a vacation trip. You stop celebrating. You stop looking forward to these special occasions. You just keep it small because small is quiet and safe. Or worse, you stop inviting others altogether because it's easier than risking another hijacked holiday or birthday. And when this pattern of, abuse on these holidays, this pattern of sabotaging the holidays, when this pattern is subtle enough, you even start blaming yourself. Maybe I was too demanding. Maybe I should have included him or her more. Maybe I just expect too much. Now, how do we reclaim the holidays and the special moments? Number one is name the pattern. Awareness is step one. Actually, awareness is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, awareness is huge. If your holidays have become anxiety triggers instead of joyful moments, name it. See it for what it is. It wasn't the holiday that failed. It was the dynamic. It was this person in your life that is competing with the holiday. Number two is grieve what was taken. You deserve to grieve those lost moments. The birthday dinners that turned silent, the ruined Christmas mornings, the missed smiles from your kids because you were managing someone else's moods. It's okay to be sad about this. There are things in life worth grieving, and this is one of them. Number three is start new traditions. These are new traditions you start without them. Whether you're out of the relationship or planning your exit or still trying to figure out what you're going to do, create moments that are yours. Celebrate with safe people. Keep it simple, but keep it sacred. You can redefine joy and peacefulness for yourself. It doesn't have to be performative. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. So you've had enough ruined holidays, enough birthdays that left you crying, enough anniversaries that marked pain instead of love. So let's do something radical here. I want you to make a new holiday just for you, not to celebrate someone else, not even to celebrate a special occasion necessarily, not to meet anyone else's expectations, but to mark something sacred for you. And what are we marking? Your emotional growth. So you could call it your Independence Day, your emotional freedom celebration. Choose maybe the day that you left, or the day that you finally admitted the truth to yourself, or maybe the day that you stood up and said, hey, this is not okay. Let that day become your personal Independence Day. I'm not talking about the 4th of July. This could be July 14th, or March 3rd, or September 29th. Write it on your calendar, circle it, and then celebrate it. How? Take yourself out for dinner, or coffee, or a glass of wine. Write a letter to the version of you who stayed for so long and thank that person for surviving. Light a candle or create a ritual to mark how far you've come. Another one you could do would be to call it a healing anniversary, the day that you chose you. Maybe you picked the day you started therapy, or that you reached out to a coach. Maybe the day you joined a support group or read your first book on narcissism. This might seem small, but it was the beginning of everything, because it was the beginning of your awareness. Celebrate by rereading your first journal entry from that time and write a new one today. Maybe plant a flower or a tree that represents your growth. Take a photo of yourself, not a polished selfie, just you as you are, and keep it as a milestone marker. Maybe you could create a rebirth day. Okay, we've got birthdays, and I'm not talking about that. This is a rebirth day, not tied to an external event, just a day that you choose to be your day. A day that you honor your resilience, a day that you honor your adaptability and your ability to survive all of this. A day that you say, I'm still here and I'm learning to love life again. Well, how do you celebrate your rebirth day? Book a trip, take a solo trip or a little mini getaway. Spend a day out in nature, completely disconnected. Make a playlist of songs that reflect your healing. Or gift yourself something meaningful, a ring, a tattoo, a new journal, a painting. When you live with someone who repeatedly ruins what's sacred, you stop believing that anything can be sacred or special. Creating your own holiday, it's more than a symbolic gesture. It's an act of reclaiming you. It's you saying, I decide what's meaningful for me now. I decide what gets celebrated. And it's proof that joy does not come from other people. It comes from within, from the life that you're building, from the self that you are becoming. So go ahead, create your own sacred day and make it yours, and protect it. Protect it the way that no one protected your special days before. It will feel uncomfortable to enjoy yourself again. Yes, that's normal. Trauma taught you to brace for impact, but healing teaches you to breathe again. It teaches you to celebrate and to laugh again. Give yourself permission to make new memories. Even if they're quiet, that doesn't matter. You don't have to live up to anyone else's expectations anymore. One of the most powerful parts of healing is reclaiming what was stolen, not just internally, but in community. Every year at my in-person retreat, we hold what we lovingly call the holiday dinner for the holidays that were taken. It's just such a fun evening, very joy-filled, but a very sacred part of the weekend. Here's how it works. Each survivor that attends the retreat picks a holiday that was ruined for them. Maybe Christmas, maybe their birthday, maybe New Year's Eve. And then they come dressed for that holiday that evening, however they choose to celebrate that holiday. And we decorate the space with symbols from every season. We play holiday music from every holiday and every tradition. We eat foods from all the different holidays. We laugh and we cry. We eat Christmas cookies and Halloween costumes. We wear birthday tiaras next to red hearts for Valentine's Day. We honor what was lost. But more than that, we celebrate what we're choosing to build now. It's more than just fun, it's extremely healing, because for so many of us, joy started to feel unsafe. Being celebrated started to feel dangerous. And this dinner, this moment at the retreat, it's where we take it back. If this resonates with you, if you've endured too many ruined holidays and you're craving a space where your healing gets to be witnessed and experienced, I want to invite you to consider joining us this year. You can find the details about the retreat on my website, covertnarcissism.com/retreat. There is still joy for you. There are still holidays that will not end in heartbreak. And sometimes they might start with just a plate of mashed potatoes, a paper crown, and a room full of people who finally get it. People who understand. If your holidays always felt heavier than they should, this was not in your head. If your special moments kept ending in heartbreak, it was not a coincidence. Covert narcissists cannot stand it when you shine, unless the light reflects back onto them. But your joy is not selfish. Your peace is not an insult to them, even if they take it that way. And your celebration does not need their permission. You are allowed to want good things, and more than that, you're allowed to have them. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a health care provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those she has talked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support any allegation or claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.